Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nerd Variety Podcast. I am Josh. I am joined today by Hunter Hellblazer Rafferty.
Okay. Yeah, that's sure.
Yeah. And we're also joined by Hannah Headhunter Hogan.
Wait.
I don't know where these. Yeah,
Why are you
I don't know
hunting
where
my
these
head?
nicknames are coming from. But
I mean,
hi.
Aren't they obvious?
No, I don't know. I'm
Okay.
confused. I think one time you said Hannah Treehugger Hogan, and that one felt accurate.
That does feel accurate.
Yeah.
But he's trying to do Halloween themed.
Right.
I don't know that Headhunter is
no.
really Halloween themed.
Well, and I think he's also trying to do alliterations, and we're making it easy because
I guess. What
it's-
did you do
well,
for
I'm making it
yourself?
easy.
You didn't do one for yourself, did you?
No, I never do one for myself.
Yeah, come on, that's
That was weird.
it's lame. But then
You
it's
can't
just
give yourself a
it's just
nickname.
all H's.
Yeah.
I can't give myself one. Y'all have to give one for me.
All right, what are we talking about?
Today, we are continuing the Halloween October scary topics trend, and we're talking about zombies.
Oh my God, they're behind me.
There's a
Everywhere.
lot of zombies behind you, Hunter. I don't know how you're still alive.
It has something to do with this black ring that I have on my finger.
That's encouraging. Who doesn't like a good zombie story? Zombies have been around in media for a while.
They've only just recently been around in just in the real world.
Yeah. It's right now it's bath salts, but who knows what will happen one day. We're always aware and ready and waiting. But who doesn't like a good zombie movie? Who doesn't like a good zombie video game? I, for one, love my Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. Just loads of fun playing that. I don't know how you guys have a preferred zombie game that you like?
Well, I am going to say that it was Zombies mode that actually got me interested in Call of Duty in the first place.
Honestly, same.
Yeah,
I used to play Black Ops Zombies a lot, and I actually don't think I have a way of playing it, and I'm very upset about that.
Well, I guess it depends on the interpretation of zombies, how specific you want to be, because, well, so there's The Last of Us, which is pretty zombie-ish, but they do a different take on it, and it's, I guess you could call it more realistic, where it's like the fungus thing kind of infects the host and they become essentially zombies. So that, but I've only played through that game once entirely, and I mean, I'm excited for the second one.
Yeah, I would count it. It tells a similar story that you see in a lot of zombie games, but like the Walking Dead Telltale games, a little bit with just how they kind of portray the protagonist in both of them.
I definitely got the two confused for a long time.
Yeah, and it kind of goes into the whole that goes into the topic of the different kinds of zombies that are out there.
Yeah.
The Walking Dead Telltale games are fun. It's more of a psychological, you're not just fighting zombies, you're fighting people.
Yeah, I feel like fun is a relative term.
I wouldn't say psychological as much as emotional. I know a lot of people want to put those kind of close together, but I'd still say emotional.
I play Minecraft, and there's zombie pigmen in that.
No one cares about Minecraft.
No, I'm just kidding. My go-to is Left 4 Dead because it's just classic and it's a good time.
Left 4 Dead 2.
Well, yeah, specifically Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah.
It's probably my go-to zombie game.
It's a good zombie party game.
It is, and I have 3 siblings, and other than my sister who I live with, we all live in different states, but we can all play at the same time together over PC, so that's pretty sweet.
And honestly, I feel like I'm blanking on some important zombie games. Maybe I just don't play as many as I think. But I definitely, and one that I probably wouldn't have questioned so much a while ago, but I would question a little bit now as if it's actually a zombie game, is the Resident Evil series. because even though for some it might seem obvious zombies, it's more than that. It's
And Resident Evil 7 takes what seems like a pretty different turn, specifically from I think the classic ones.
It's really not too different. Like if you know some of the other stuff, like it is. And I'll just also say that I haven't played all of the Resident Evil games. I've played a few of them, but I hear a lot about them and I've seen videos about them. And yeah, so, like I played Resident Evil 5 and I remember just thinking of, if you've played that or seen it, like what Wesker does to himself. He's definitely not like a zombie. He's more of a mutant bioweapon, and same with like Nemesis, I think, and whatever the guy. I'm blanking on the guy's name from 2, but the guy that kind of stalks you all the time.
I just know like lore-wise, it's all connected, but in terms of design of monsters, I feel like they were not super zombie-like in Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, they definitely weren't. That's because it was a whole other thing. Those weren't really zombies at all. Like the family kind of was, especially
there was
Zach,
a connection,
especially Jack, because he would like you could cut off his torso, like you'd separate his torso, and then he would come back up later.
Would that be cutting off his torso or cutting off his head?
I guess that's different. Well, he got his torso blown off completely. Like all you saw left was his, like, yeah, it is.
And he survived, and he was still active as a quote-unquote zombie.
Yeah, he comes back later as this big, monstrous, black gooey thing.
Spoilers.
With a bunch of eyes. Yeah, sorry.
I've also been playing a lot of Plants vs. Zombies recently.
I get that. I would credit that as a zombie-ish.
Zombie-ish? Yeah.
You fight against zombies?
Well, so, okay. Okay. I know this might be an obvious thing because of, the current state of things. When you say Plants vs. Zombies, are you talking like Garden Warfare, or are you talking like the original one?
Like on my phone.
Okay. Because there is, the original or Garden Warfare, which they've had like 2 of those at least so far. Yeah. And those are shooters.
Yeah, no, not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Went from a simple zombies are approaching your territory, you use super plants to defend yourself, to whatever that is.
Classic.
Kind of the reverse of what Black Ops zombies did.
That actually felt, I don't know, I didn't really get into Plants vs. Zombies all that much. I tried it. It felt very, let's say, freemium. It felt like, you would do some and then you'd get to a level pretty soon that would be like, oh yeah, you're being really overwhelmed by enemies. How about you pay us some money and then you'll be able to get through it?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm done with this game now.
I guess I'm just better at the game than you are then.
Probably. I don't do a lot of mobile games. I don't do a lot of phone games.
Yeah.
In fact, I actually just uninstalled Pokemon Go the other day. And it was when I was out and about doing stuff, so.
You looked at them like, nah. Delete the game, threw your phone away. Yeah.
No.
I have a lot of phone games.
Actually, I was, if I might be so bold as to share something just a little different.
No.
I didn't throw my phone away, but I uninstalled it when I was at Pride this weekend, and it was the Trans March, and
you didn't want to be distracted.
Well, I didn't really do anything there, but walked, and other people were saying like, oh yeah, I've just been playing Pokemon Go, I've just been doing this. I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I still have this on my phone.
Yeah, save yourself some space.
Yeah. So
speaking of zombie games and zombie types, how do you, what's the difference between there are zombie games, like there's the zombie mode in Black Ops, there's the Walking Dead Telltale games, there's Left 4 Dead. Would you consider Dead Space a zombie series?
It's
zombie like genre?
That's a tough one. Hannah, have you
Yeah.
played any of
I'm
Dead
not
Space?
familiar.
Yeah, so, well, it's kind of implied in the name, the necromorphs, but
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't. It's weird because that's where you get like the crossbreed of they're zombie aliens.
Yeah, so I looked up online types of zombies because I'm like, might as well.
yeah, yeah.
And they mentioned the zombies, like the zombie men in Doom, which are like technically not really
Yeah,
like undead. They're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
possessed more than anything, but they're like
Yeah.
on the list, and it's like that's kind of a weird.
That's a weird
I
thing.
don't know if it really classified as a zombie.
I don't think of
Yeah.
the enemies in Dead Space as zombies, even though they're necromorphs and it implies dead.
Well, and another one that I've definitely had debates about is you guys familiar with I Am Legend, the movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So are those zombies? I've heard that they're
I've-
somewhere between like zombies and vampires.
I've always thought of them as
They're-
more like zombies.
More
But-
like no, they're more like realistic vampires.
I guess. I mean,
they eat.
it
They eat
still
people,
weird.
and they're kind of mindless, but they can't exist in the sun, so, and you can't spread the disease by biting you. You can't spread the disease by being bit, or you can't turn into one.
well, and also honestly,
Oh,
on
wait,
that
no,
specific.
I'm wrong. That was yeah. You actually can be.
Yeah, I was gonna
turned
say,
by
can't
bit
you?
by
Yeah.
bit. Unless you're completely immune, which some people
Right.
aren't. So
And-
yeah, that's a weird one there.
Yeah, honestly, I've only seen that movie probably once, maybe
that movie.
twice, and it's been a while,
It's great.
so I can't speak in depth about it. I just remember thinking I would consider them closer to zombies than
They're
not the xenomorphs, the necromorphs.
they're very zombie-like in behavior. I think the only reason people say that they're like vampires is because they react poorly to sunlight. But
Yeah.
if you didn't really have a lot of skin anymore, you probably also would react poorly to sunlight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
So,
a lot
you
of
know.
Probably.
zombies that you see that are, I think in Walking Dead, they featured some zombies that had been wandering around for a long time after being turned, and they started kind of succumbing to the elements.
Yeah.
So I'm just
It
getting
happens.
somewhat caught up with The Walking Dead. I'm like, I'm in season 9, just over halfway. Well, I'm in like we just watched episode 11. So,
Okay.
I'm not remotely caught up.
I just started season 9 myself. I was waiting for it to be on Netflix.
I think I
Well-
stopped watching in like season 4.
okay, you're a bit
It's
behind then.
It's been stretching out. It's been interesting for a while. It was interesting for a while. Then I don't know. I guess Negan was a big tipping point, and then I don't know. It's not as
Like,
you know,
I really
hard-hitting to
enjoyed
me.
Negan's intro a lot, and I thought he was a great villain.
Oh yeah.
After they kind of loosely wrapped that up at the end of season 8, it's I don't know, to me it felt like they were just kind of stretching it a bit, and I guess that's still kind of what they're doing. Not to say that there's not still good stuff, but it felt a little more like, okay, this is a successful franchise, let's keep going.
Yeah. And I think it's the whole thing from translating it from a comic book into a real live action show, and characters aging, and then not really having a reliable or clear timeline. But it still has a lot of good tropes as far as there are zombies out there to fight them off, also fight off humans. You also have to kind of be aware of what's going on, because if you let your guard down, zombies will get you, and that's it. And it's very a lot of emphasis on survival and being able to think and just be ready, not lose your cool.
So, Josh, are you gonna try to be caught up to Walking Dead by Walker Stalker?
That seems like a fun challenge. I potentially. I mean, it's 16 episodes, so I potentially could. I have to
17
watch 17 episodes.
or maybe 18. I think it was on last night. I don't remember if it premiered last night or if this was the second episode. But yeah, of season 10.
Yeah, I will certainly try to cram in a good bit. So speaking of going into the types of zombies, do you guys know what the first zombies were? Like how they were first kind of featured?
Not necessarily.
They were voodoo zombies. So a witch doctor kind of did some voodoo stuff and put people under their spell and made them kind of do whatever he was telling them to do. And usually it would be kind of brainless and just kind of wander around. And now we're in the zombie franchise where it's more of a viral thing. It's not so much magic, unless you're talking about the DC Black Lanterns. Yes, I was talking about the Black Lanterns.
Yeah, which, and I mean, I think it makes sense. Zombies kind of are a thing that I think it really works, and you get different versions of it depending on like the setting, right? So earlier, before, it was really before science would have been as progressive, and we would have really been thinking of like a more viral infection type of thing and how that would spread. It makes sense that we would kind of make it a little more of a like magical, mystical voodoo thing, curse thing. And again, like, bringing it into just kind of reanimating the dead as well, just like something gets in, bodies, maybe it's airborne or something, and people have it, whether it's through evolution or whatever, dead just start coming back to life. Or, again, like I brought up okay, you're really distracting me, Josh. Or like I brought up with Last of Us. I was just seeing your screen moving. It was weird. So yeah, like The Last of Us, which is more of so there's this plant that, it's kind of I don't know, I guess a parasite or something. It kind of attaches to a host, and then in order to survive, that kind of does this thing to bring the host back to life or something, or because it's dead, it's easier to do that. And then from there it evolves and changes that, and then we have the setting of like DC Comics, where you have the lanterns of all different kinds, and then it makes sense that you have the Black Lanterns that are able to use, especially because there have been so many characters that have died in the DC Comics, which that's one of my most hated things to have to say. DC Comics, Detective Comics.
Okay.
Anyways, it just makes sense to make it that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, and there's some. I think some are more. I guess the more kind of, you have to think it's has a different weight depending on the kind of zombie. There are the ones that you see in Walking Dead. If you read World War Z, read the book, and the ones in I think was it not like Dawn of the Dead or Shaun the Dead, the ones that aren't like super vet. There are slow ones that will bite you and you get infected, or they'll just swarm you and eat you alive. And then there's the fast ones you see in 28 Days Later.
Never seen that.
World War Z. Also, I think Z Nation and Black Summer, which is a prequel to it, they have like you get bitten and you get bitten within like 10-20 seconds you turn into a zombie.
Yeah. Well, also, I'm trying to think of how this would relate to there. But what about kind of behaviors of zombies, or what would you consider like standard, or maybe not even standard, but like the best kind of rules for zombies, like, because you see different things about like how they behave, what they're like, a lot of it goes to like their eating habits and why they do it, how they do it, everything that evolves around it. And I'm pretty slow when it comes to shows sometimes. So I'm in season 2, like the beginning of season 2 of iZombie, and it just actually finished.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I think earlier this year or something. And so that's like I guess they have a somewhat classic approach to zombies, but it's also one thing, kind of me watching it side by side pretty much with The Walking Dead. Those are very different types of zombies.
Yeah.
So
I think those are a little more. I think you said they have a kind of a mystical kind of component to them, or how do the zombies and iZombies work?
So in iZombie, those are like, it's weird. So yeah, they have to like be scratched by a zombie. There's also like this drug they have, like utopium, and it gets like tainted. There's like a tainted batch of it, and that kind of turns people into zombies. I guess it's a little weird. Maybe they go more into it when further down the line from where I am. But yeah. So essentially, if zombies like eat brains regularly, they can be like normal. Essentially, they just can't really taste anything unless it has like a lot of unless it's really spicy or really hot. So like every time you see the main character or any zombies like eat stuff, it has like a lot of hot sauce or a lot of peppers on it.
Yeah, that's a different way of doing the zombie.
Yeah, and I feel like it's.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's a new thing. This idea of zombies like actually being characters, and the only other movie that comes to mind is Warm Bodies.
Yeah, and it is kind of like that in a lot of ways.
And I think it's clever. I think it's really dumb, and I love it. Those are generally my feelings on that idea.
And I mean, the show.
Fun and different. That's all.
Yeah, the show is pretty different from the comics. iZombie. I haven't read a lot of it. What I have read, I would say it's radically different. But again, I don't know if that changes much during the comics. So yeah, I'm not going to really try to compare. But yeah, it's kind of a buddy cop thing, so kind of silly.
Yeah.
But it's good. And like if they go too long without eating brains, then they go what the main character refers to as like full-on zombie mode. And so they get like red eyes, they get like super strength basically, and they just kind of go crazy and don't really have control. And it's it's fun. It's just a fun thing, and it's pretty different for a lot of zombies. But to me, that brings up the question every once in a while when I'm watching it. I'm just like, so like it's a little weird. So they have to eat brains specifically, whereas most zombies, right? It to me it feels like they just eat. Like they just need to eat because
they just want flesh.
And because like
not so much brain,
most of their
brains, like
because like most of their brain is destroyed, I guess, except the part that tells them, hey, we need to survive, and to do that we need to eat.
Well, and I think I can't remember specifically where I saw this, but I swear I've seen some stuff where zombies will eat animals too.
Yeah.
Right, like it's not just people and people brains, but just any meat they can get their hands on.
Yeah, and you see that sometimes in some adaptations of zombies. Like in The Walking Dead, you'll see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Walking Dead, reading World War Z. I'm pretty sure in like Dawn of the Dead, there was, if they couldn't get humans, they would get animals.
Right, which just biologically makes more sense.
Yeah.
Right, that if they have this like mindless drive to kill and eat, that it wouldn't just be people.
Yeah, it's like the virus is telling them to spread, but also like driving them to eat and consume without really but you don't really digest or get nourishment from it unless you're a warm bodies /
Right.
iZombie.
I feel like we just need to go ahead and say that those are in a different category.
Well, I mean, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like most zombies are in different categories depending on where you're finding them. Like the movie, the comic book, the universe that it
I would say like what I would call the classic zombie is one that honestly is not dangerous by itself unless it sneaks up on you, and there really is like the requirement for there to be a horde in order for them really to pose a risk. I feel like is what I would refer to as the classic zombie.
So, and your idea of a classic zombie, that I just want to not trying to poke holes in it or anything, but like that's like slow zombies, right? Not like fast World War Z zombies.
We might call them walkers.
Zombies.
Yeah,
the stumblers. Yeah, Z's.
Gamblers.
Not the ones from like 28 Days Later.
World War Z.
There was some in Z Nation, the movie World War Z, where it's 12 to 20 seconds you're infected, and you just blitz to spread the infection. You're just really fast animal hunter, as you would say.
What about me?
What? Nothing.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and I have seen. I can't remember the title, like the original Night of the Living Dead, and they were of that type, right? Which I guess was the first zombie movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe not the first zombie media, but
did they eat brains or did they just eat people?
I think they just ate people.
Zombies?
Yeah, and they were slow, and it was like laughably cheesy because it was super old, but it was delightful. Well, and I think they had like some presence of mind now that I think of it, because I distinctly remember a scene where a woman is like lying on the stairs screaming for like 2 minutes while a zombie like walks towards her with a spade that he's gonna stab her with. So
zombies that use weapons. Oh, that's
great. Yeah. I don't know. I have to watch it again, but I think that's what happened.
It's always it's always a shock factor whenever you see a zombie with like a axe or a sword, or they're still shooting a gun. That's a nice shock factor in a game or a movie.
I feel like you don't see that very much.
Yeah, it's rare. It's usually done for like humor, but also like this character's definitely screwed because a zombie is wielding a weapon. They could hit them, it could not. But
I think my argument against zombies that can run really fast is it doesn't seem to make sense to me that as a body decays, it would become stronger or faster. I think there is like some increase in strength.
I think you're looking at like a virus that is taken over. It's more of a virus that takes over and just wants to spread, and that's why. And it conditions the body to be like, okay, you're an adrenaline junkie, and you just want to spread. You don't care. You don't care what happens. You don't care what happens to you, and maybe it changes your muscle and bone density or something like that.
Yeah, and there are those stories of moms lifting cars off of children. Like, the human body has a lot of capacity to do stuff, even if we don't do it most of the time because it would be physically damaging.
Yeah.
But if you can't think, then that's probably not an issue.
Yeah. It's about what your brain decides is necessary for your body to do.
But I think gaining lots of strength or speed is...
And it's good that the zombies always go back to a horror thing. Like, oh gosh, like Marvel Zombies was I read Blackest Night not so long ago. I haven't read Marvel Zombies, but I'm aware of kind of it's more of it kind of hurt a little more because Captain America, Spider-Man, Hulk, you can name a bunch more. They became zombies and they just ate their friends and family and destroyed the earth, and that was
Well, I was gonna ask. It's been a while since I've read Blackest Night. I need to go back and do it again, and then read Brightest Day because I don't think I ever got around to that one. But so I actually can't really remember what they're like when they're Black Lanterns. Do they still think and everything, are they like more of a brainwashed version of themselves, or are they, I don't know, more mindless, just kind of doing stuff?
They're kind of a brainwashed version of themselves in which they talk about they go to a character and they kind of make them feel guilt. They try to make them feel emotion. They're kind of like emotion zombies. They'll attack someone, they'll bring up old wounds and guilt and like you're the reason I'm like this. You never loved me enough. You gave up on me. You were a coward.
And
And then by them feeling those strong emotions, that they're able to corrupt them and spread the rings.
and that makes a lot of sense because they are lanterns, and
Yeah.
all the lanterns, it's emotion based. So
Yeah, there's still a horror thing because you're seeing, what was it? I think they had
they have like Batman.
recently dead characters. Not Batman per se. Go back and read it. But I don't think.
Pretty sure they
Batman
do
was
get
the-
Batman at some point.
It's
Pretty sure
kind of a
they do.
confusing thing, but they definitely
It
get
is.
Aquaman. They get Martian Manhunter. They get.
I think they get Ronnie Raymond.
The Hawks.
I think they get Ronnie
Yeah,
Raymond, but I don't remember for sure.
Yeah, he was the worst.
Yeah, and Hawkeye,
Yeah.
or I mean, Hawkman, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds familiar.
I
Yeah,
said the Hawks. Yeah.
yeah. It's been a while, but yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. So it's good
How
stuff.
would you guys compare them to other horror monsters?
It's interesting because they do tend, as we were talking about earlier, like near the beginning, they tend to have a lot of crossing over, maybe more than any other monster that I can think of right now. Because, and I think that's pretty fair because zombies are usually just like a reanimated corpse, and everything dies. So
Yeah.
They're definitely they're as far as I know, one of the few, if not the only monster that as they defeat you, they get stronger. Right? Like the more people they kill, the more people they have.
Yeah.
And
Plus
that makes
humans
them
that can
just
fight against them.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's one thing that does make them not necessarily, well, okay, yeah, it makes them like more terrifying of a foe, I think, of a threat. Because yeah, when you lose one of your guys, then you're not just losing one, you're losing one and gaining an extra enemy to fight.
Yeah.
I also think the fact that they're just I think of them like water, right? Like over time they just eat away at you literally,
Mhm.
right? And they're just
Yeah,
kind of this
yeah.
never-ending unstoppable force, right?
Yeah.
That even if you go and hide, like eventually they will find you, and
Yeah.
like you can never really be safe
Yeah.
because you can't beat them. Right? So I think that makes them unique.
I hate it when they're like Walking Dead zombies, where no matter what you do, if someone dies, they become a zombie. It makes sense that they're like bitten by a zombie, but that's kind of more manageable. But them, you can't leave any dead unchecked.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it was an airborne virus, that could totally happen.
And
Yeah.
honestly, I do want to just say, because one thought that I had when watching Walking Dead recently was like, so does anybody in this world die of old age? And if they die of old age, will they still come back as a zombie? Like, because does that
Presumably.
basically make people immortal unless they get, unless the brain is destroyed? Because like if
I
someone
don't know
died,
if I would say being
'cause-
undead counts as being immortal.
because like
Yeah.
if somebody dies of old age, then their body should shut down. But if they come back as a zombie, then that means it's bringing them back to life. So they're still gonna be alive,
But
right?
it's not
Or
them.
would they stay dead because their entire body has shut down naturally?
The virus or the whatever cause of the outbreak is usually like still inside of them if they turn when they die, if they weren't bitten. But as you see in Walking Dead, or in a lot of zombie media, people can get sick. People can starve. They can have an accident and die.
Yeah, but that's
imagine
different.
they would be very weak zombies because their muscle mass would have already started to atrophy and all
but
that
again,
stuff.
So like again, as we were saying, usually like for zombies, it's that their brain, it's like dead, but it is able to come back, and they still have like mostly that part of their brain that tells them they need to eat. But if someone dies of old age, then I can only imagine that like their brain is just done. Like there's nothing more to do for it. So then that can't necessarily come back, right?
They can. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you had someone that was in a shallow grave and no one stabbed the head, the brains might be intact enough to where it's a very simple zombie. It might still bite reflexively. It might still like cry out. But yeah, it's a tricky question.
Well, I feel like dying of old age can actually mean a lot of different things, right? It's not necessarily brain failure. It could be any other number of things failing all at once.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah. Real quick before we wrap up, what are some good tips for surviving a zombie apocalypse?
Don't use a gun.
I was gonna say probably stay away from guns because they're gonna be unreliable.
Yeah.
And
also, you probably don't know how to use one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's unrealistic to be able.
I mean, we live in Georgia, so a lot of people here, but other places, who knows?
Yeah, they're loud. You gotta have ammo.
Yeah. A sword.
Keep a good knife. Learn how to use a knife. And
if you could fashion a bow and arrow and like get some practice with it, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Food and medicine are going to be key things to get. People are going to be raiding grocery stores and pharmacies. And want to make sure you have, first aid things, antibiotics,
canned food.
Bread and water. Bread and milk.
Food.
Bread and milk.
Food.
Bread and milk.
Actually, I hear beer would probably be a good thing to go after.
Yeah, actually alcohol, because it can't get infected.
Yep.
So maybe not beer, like
vodka.
Yeah, actually
vodka.
Actually get beer because it wouldn't. I don't think it would stay. It would stay. It wouldn't. It's less likely to get contaminated by like bacteria.
Yeah. And all the more reason not to have guns around.
Liquor for injuries. That'd be good antiseptic.
Yeah. It's true. My biggest tip is get a bicycle. You don't want to be walking. You don't want to be in a car. Get a bicycle. They're quiet. They're fast. You can fix it yourself, hypothetically.
I don't know that, but what if there's zombie parts in the road and you fall over one? Or what if you just
watch where you're going?
If you trip over anything in the road and like then you're going flying and then you're gonna die because every time anybody rides a bike and trips over something, they immediately die. No, but like it could hurt them.
Travel.
It could hurt them significantly, and then they're slowed down because they're going to be going for that bike.
Don't be an idiot on your bike, but it is fast and quiet.
Yeah.
Faster than walking, quieter than a car, can still get you places quickly. You can use a bungee cord to like put a milk crate on the back so you can carry stuff with you.
Nah, get rollerblades.
No,
they take so much more effort to use.
Skates.
You want to talk about tripping? There you go.
What? What, Josh?
Yeah, I heard that wrong.
There was a scene in there was a part in the World War Z where I think the people in New York were just like, yeah, we're gonna fight the zombies off, every man for himself. And there was a guy wearing rollerblades. He was rollerblading through the city. He had a knife attached to a hockey stick, and he was just kind of like going through and slashing zombies with it. But he ended up running into something or slipping somehow, and he got swarmed. So
Okay. I thought you
he
said
couldn't get up
something.
in time to escape.
I thought you said something about stripping,
That's what I thought you said
No.
too.
and I was like,
Sorry, no.
Very
what?
confused. Anyway, something manual on wheels, be it a bicycle, rollerblades, a skateboard, a freaking razor scooter,
A unicycle,
a unicycle, a tricycle, something with wheels that doesn't have an engine.
a big wheel.
Yeah.
I still think a bicycle is the way to go because you have a little energy for big output.
Well, I mean, that's why you see a lot of motorcycles in a lot of zombie stuff.
Motorcycles are so
But
loud, though.
You have to know where you
Still.
are and have gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, motorcycles do work pretty well against,
Bicycles are self-powered.
Yeah, but they're still slower than motorcycles. So depending on the zombies, you can be more easily stopped by a zombie if you're riding a bike than with a motorcycle, in my opinion. So, but yeah.
All
so
right. Well,
we
when
need
the zombie apocalypse happens, you ride your motorcycle and I'll ride my bike, and we'll see who lives longer.
and I'm gonna stab you in the head because you're gonna be a zombie. Sorry, too much Walking Dead. Too much Walking Dead for me.
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, it's gonna stink. I'm probably gonna have a breakdown, but yeah, sorry guys.
I mean, I already I have my plan. I'm just not gonna share it because then you guys are gonna be coming after all my stuff.
My plan is to be relatively okay with the idea of my own death.
My plan is to control the pans, because those who control the pans control the world, the power.
Yeah, you will need to have some kind of some kind of protective layers on. Short sleeves and shorts are not gonna do you well.
Make sure you go shopping just before
I'm gonna cut
the
my
zombie
hair.
apocalypse.
Don't want anything grabbing my hair.
Don't wear loose clothing. Maybe get some kind of armor.
Invest in leggings, is what I'm hearing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna say pants
It's actually
or
very
like
good.
knee pads, elbow pads, or
I'm with you,
some
Hannah.
duct tape around.
Especially if you're on roller skates.
Oh, and on that point, Josh, get duct tape. Get all the duct tape. Duct tape is already a great fix for anything.
Yeah.
It's going to be even better for zombies.
And a flashlight that you can shake to charge.
Yes, I would say yes. Some kind of
You don't want to be relying on anything that could be used up.
You don't want stuff that relies on
like motorcycles,
electricity. You don't want stuff that's going to be battery powered. You want stuff that'll be you can do hand powered or possibly
or leg powered.
Yeah. Or solar powered.
Yeah. Well, good tips, guys. Good tips.
Hannah, what are we talking about next week?
I'm not entirely certain. Still in the works, but it's going to be something related to horror video games. Do we like them? Have we played them? Why are they popular? What's the deal with those? I feel like there's been a lot more of them recently, but we'll talk about that next week.
All right. Final words, Josh.
And I'll be going to Walker Stalker this weekend, so I want to probably interject a couple things that I saw / heard while I was there.
I'm going to Ren Fair. I don't expect it to be scary.
That's kind of different.
I'm terrified for you, Hannah.
So scary. There'll be women in corsets.
And men in kilts.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. All right, guys. Well, I hope everyone has learned a little thing and has enjoyed our zombie talk today. But that will wrap up. Tune next week, and you guys have a safe and happy week.